Okay. Okay. So I just have to look toward you when I want to know a time check, right? Yes. Okay. Okay. I'm leaving all my notifications. Hello, hello. Should I do a nice feedback sound to get everyone's attention? Probably not. All right, everybody shut up. It's my time to shine. Hi, I'm Melissa Storm, and I'm so happy my talk is on Tiara Day. Congrats, we have made it to the end. We're almost there. Everybody did great. Nobody knew anybody was uncomfortable, promise. What I'm not happy about right now is that I have to start with my least favorite part when I'm giving any talk, and that's talking about myself. So I assume some people here can relate. My name is Melissa Storm. I'm a New York Times bestselling author. I have both trad and indie books. I also write cozy mysteries as Molly Fitz, and what a lot of people don't know, this is my coming out. I also write reverse harem as S.K. Rain. A lot of people don't expect that from Melissa Storm, but I have a very big fondness for reverse harem. I also run novel publicity. We've been in business since 2011. We started with blog tours way back in the day. And at some point, Facebook ads hit the scene, and I just fell in love. And ever since then, I only want to write my books and run Facebook ads and see my family, and that's it. So what I'm excited about is not talking about me, but talking about Facebook ads. And I know it can be a very scary topic. That a lot of people, maybe you're here because you want to learn Facebook ads and you're excited, but probably a lot of people are here because they hate Facebook ads and they want to say, I made an effort, they're not for me, done. So whatever you walk away with, that's okay. Walk away with something and I'm happy. So the real name of my talk is not another Facebook session with Melissa Storm. It's the top 10 mistakes authors make with their Facebook ads and how to fix them. If you're in the back or online, my slides, technically it's a PDF, but my slides are available linked in Eventy, so you can pull that up. I'll have a lot of screenshots, so if you want to zoom in and see what I'm talking about, that is readily accessible. The other thing is I'm a very casual speaker. Who thought she turned off notifications? Okay. I'm a very casual speaker because I think it's especially important when talking about a topic that is technical and scary to bring it down to just that personable level, to have a conversation and not have me on my podium and say, I'm the queen of Facebook ads, and I'm here to smile upon some subjects and smite others. So if everything goes to plan, I'll have a lot of time for questions. If you're not able to ask yours in the time frame we have, I'm going to be hanging out in the Grand Salon for a couple hours. Come find me. Come talk to me about your ads. And I saw some posts, too, from people who haven't found their tribe. If you need an extrovert to adopt you, please come find me. I'm not an extrovert, but I'm really good at faking it, and I'll be your friend. All right, so the 10 mistakes. The screenshots will be bigger. They follow. This is why I technically have a PDF, because I needed the slide to look pretty so you would be impressed, but I also need you to see the full screenshot, so that's coming. The first mistake is too few ads. A lot of authors will set up one campaign, one ad set, one ad, and that's their ads. I usually set up one campaign, 20 audiences, and 3 ads in each, so 60 ads. And I'm going to show you why with some screenshots. The first thing I just wanted to point out is you can think of the Facebook dashboard as kind of Russian nesting dolls. So our first tab, that's the big doll that everything lives inside. That's campaigns. So I have an example of a campaign highlighted. And you'll see I've marked up my screenshots. Boxes I want you to look at, scissors are bad things. So when you see scissors come up, we're going to pay attention to that. The arrow is to show you that I have the period set to the current month. So these are pretty right now, and these are my ads. We're looking at actual numbers. We're going to flip between my Melissa Storm ads account and my Molly Fitz ads account and look at real numbers right now. Ad sets is the medium doll in our nest. So you can see here I clicked into one campaign and I have 18 ad sets you can see at the bottom. And I just have one ad set selected now. This is where our audience and targeting lives. So we'll talk about that a little more coming up. And within each ad set, I then have 5 ads. So this one is 5 times 18, 90 ads for this one campaign. And in this, I advertise my box sets to the US audience. You'll see later on that I run ads to many, many countries, and a very significant portion of my income is actually international. Okay, so we're going to circle back to some of that because I want to focus on the mistakes rather than a tutorial of how to set up an ad, but I thought that was a good base. Mistake number 2 is too many ad placements. Facebook loves to recommend how to teach you how to use their product, but they don't know how themselves. If you get contacted by a marketing expert, they're not experts. Usually it confuses authors to talk to them because their advice is going to be to do video ads for playthroughs and to do carousel ads and combine ad sets. And that's advice that can work when you're selling a $900 service, but not so much when you're selling a $4.99 ebook. So Facebook will tell you, we want you to do automatic Advantage Plus placements recommended, and then there's like a little star. That's wrong, that's bad, don't listen to them. This screen, just to show you, you don't need to see it well, but how long this is, these are all the placements available. The scissors are because automatic is bad, you want manual placements, and then you're gonna wanna run only Facebook newsfeed. So if you run multiple placements, your CPC, your cost per click, will be lower, but your conversion will also be lower. Those are the shit placements, okay? Nobody wants to click on your ad network or Facebook Marketplace ad for a book. Don't use them. The blue arrows, if you refer back, those are the placements for anybody interested in running Instagram ads. That's something you can ask me about later. For Instagram ads, you're gonna wanna run videos to Reels and Stories. So that's why I have those separate arrows for people who have an interest in that. Mistake number 3 is not refining your demographics, and this screenshot actually fits, so I was really excited. A lot of people will do the default 18 to 65 plus. I recommend at most going down to 25. If you think about where you were, where I was at 18 or 21, I didn't have the buying power, the credit, the disposable income, or the attention span to actually buy something, even if I clicked on it. So I usually start at 30 for most genres, but I go down to 25 for paranormal romance. Similarly, 65 plus, those are my favorite readers. For Melissa Storm and Molly Fitz, I would say 90% of my audience is probably 80 plus if I'm being honest. But again, for paranormal romance and sexier, you might want to stop at 64. I like to say that our older readers really love romance. They like mafia, actually, but they draw the line at shifters. So I usually leave it out when I have a paranormal romance. If you're writing romance, you probably want to narrow down to female. There are male readers who love romance, but you want your best bet to make money on these ads. So I would narrow down to female for romance and many genres. For thriller, even if you write high-octane military suspense, you're probably going to want to do male and female both, but you might want to do different graphics for them. So you still might split up. The other thing I see is sometimes authors will put multiple countries for the location, and they have different storefronts. They have different spellings, like for cozy mysteries. In the UK, it's cozy with an S, crime. So I don't want to serve them an ad that says to buy this cozy mystery. I want to come to them and use their term for it. So that would be separate too. Mistake number 4 is not layering target groups. I also see a lot of authors come to me for evaluations, and they'll have a lot of targets that make sense for their books, but they put them all in one layer. And what I mean by layer is you can see the and must also match. You get that by narrowing further. So you can make as many layers as you want. And my rule about layers is each layer should have a theme. So if it helps, name your layers. My top layer here, this is a cozy audience I use. Feel free to steal any of the audiences you see. They're helpful and good. If they would work for your books, have them and don't feel bad about using them. But I have TV shows that fit my paranormal cozy. I think I'm actually advertising my Merlin series. So Merlin makes a lot of sense as a target. And then I always have a reading layer. So TV shows can work well, movies can work well, sometimes clothing stores or magazines can work well, but no matter what you do, always have a reading layer. So here I have ebooks. I also use Kindle Store. If I'm in Kindle Unlimited, I might use literature and fiction, I might use reading, but I always have at least one. I have some audiences with as many as 8 layers. Just make sure each one has a theme. Mistake number 5, and it's not really a mistake, it's just something I found that works, so I'm going to call not using the method as a mistake so that you guys remember it. And that's not including a unique link in the body of your ad. So the main place you put a link is this website box. And sometimes I'll have an affiliate or tracking link. Sometimes I'll have like a really, really long, junky, ugly link because nobody can see it. In the body of my ad, I use a different link. So the benefit of having a long link with a lot of keywords and search terms down there is that if I use the short and pure link up there, it will stay. They have to be different or Facebook will remove the one in text and it will say get it here blank. So in this example, this is a wide book, so I have made a pretty link that links to a landing page so they can see the other retailers, and then I link the ad itself to Amazon. If you're in KU, you're going to want one to go to your series page and one to go to book 1. This method improves conversion so much, and since this is wide, I make sure to point out the retailers and formats it's available in. Mistake 6. Not optimizing your headline. So we're looking at some cozy ads. The headline is the part in orange. Cool cat cozy, bundle and save. If you're advertising a box set, especially to a European country, they love bundle and save in the tagline. Usually I use a crop of the cover art, but when I have a box set, I want to make it 3D and really emphasize the deal because that's a different type of reader. So I will advertise my book 1 and my box set for any of my series. You'll notice that this fits perfectly. There's no extra space, it's not cut off, and a little trick I like to make it even more visually appealing is capitalizing the top line and title casing the bottom line. So scissors, that's a bad thing. This is one of my German ads for the same series, and you can see it's cut off. I have a ... So if somebody's on their mobile and they see this, they're not going to know how the sentence ends. So we want to avoid that, even though it will look good on the computer. Is my voice sounding okay, or am I having like a little bit of feedback? Okay. Mistake 7 is not nurturing your ads daily. When I introduced myself, since I hate talking about myself, I forgot to mention that I run a lot of ads. I have about 30 clients I manage daily, and my company overall manages about 100 clients daily for Facebook ads. And the 4 of us have a chat, and we're always talking about what's working, what trends we're seeing, if Amazon's doing something weird, if TikTok's doing something weird, because it all affects book sales. And when we're talking to our clients or when I'm looking at my own ads, I am in there looking at how much the series is making versus how much the ad is spending, and I want to keep that ratio nice. I do, when I'm calculating ROI, look at the full series because I push the series link and the read through, and if you're in KU, that's going to be where a lot of the money comes from. So I don't have a screenshot because these two are combined. So I'm going to go deep in for the next one. And that's mistake 8, not testing. Back to those same authors, I see this honestly 75% of the time when I talk to authors and look at their ads. The one campaign, one audience, one ad, and then they leave it and they're like, it works or it doesn't work, and that's it. There's so much you could be doing to test and check. I'm going to show you my method that I use for testing and checking daily for all of my clients. And it seems overwhelming, but it's not, because when you're feeling comfortable with ads, it's actually in a very fast process. So right away you see scissors. That is because I'm removing my filter to make sure that I'm seeing all ads, and I haven't hidden any because they're not on. I have changed the time period from this month to all time, and I have arranged it by cost per result. I'm pointing at my screen, so I hope that's helping you guys a lot. I'm pointing at my computer. But that's why I marked up the so you would know. There's only so many places to look. Now, the second set of scissors is around 41 cents. This campaign does very well. It makes about 5 times return. So I spend $1, I make $5 with this particular ad campaign. But you can see now that I've organized it, on top, I have an ad that's 87 cents a click. That's really bad. And you can see others at 41 cents. But this campaign makes me so much money. If you go further down, you can see most of the ads make 9 to 12 cents a click. That's a lot better. This isn't a free book. This is a box set I'm selling. And you can also see kind of tiny that I also have pictures of my cat posing with the book that I use as ads, because I write cat books, and cat people like cats. So my cat is also in my ads sometimes. But most of these are doing very well, 9 to 12 cents, but I have that 64 cents one too. And then if you also look at the bottom, it shows you the average for everything. So good and bad ads, my average is 12 cents. I have scissors because, as a caveat, I have some below average conversion ranking. You'll see that we have quality ranking, engagement ranking, and conversion ranking. Conversion doesn't mean conversion. It's Facebook's own metric. It doesn't mean you're selling. Engagement is people commenting, sharing, talking about your ads. Those aren't super important, but quality is important, especially if you write romance. If your quality ranking is below average, it means people are hiding your ad, they're complaining about it, they're reporting it. That's bad. So if it drops to below average, it will go 35%. So the bottom 1/3 of ads, 20%, 10%. 5%, and you can watch it fall. If this happens and you get below average 20% in the quality ranking, no matter how much money that ad is making, turn it off, because it could jeopardize your ad account. So that's like kind of the red flag. Oh. And then one other thing to be cautious of, so this same campaign where the average is 12 cents, I have this row of ads that have never had a click. But if you look near the scissors, you can see they're spending money without doing anything. So that's something that a lot of people forget to look for. They'll just look for the high cost per click. But I've seen ads spend as much as $5 and never get a click. So you want to find those and cut them out. Mistake number 9, and again, I realize I'm going pretty fast. It's because I want lots and lots of questions. So when I open up the floor to questions, it would be great if you say, this is the mistake I want to talk about. This is the thing I needed to go into deeper. I don't have a ton of technical stuff because I want to know what you guys want to get out of this. So I'm giving you the framework mostly to ask me questions later. So if you don't fix rejections, it jeopardizes your account status. So here's my account quality dashboard, and I have some red flags that some ads have been rejected. You want to delete those. You can appeal them. Sometimes Facebook will tell you why, and they have a lot of fun reasons. My favorite is selling sex toys because that's the rejection I see the most because I advertise romance. I've seen promoting cryptocurrency. I've seen politics. I've seen housing discrimination is another one you get a lot for some reason. And obfuscation and Most recently, they like to not have a reason at all. And here's a hot tip. I found out if they give you no reason and reject all your ads, they don't like the link to your Amazon page because there's something offensive, like you're in erotica, or there's a review that has the F word in it that's in your top reviews. So if that happens to you, switch to a different link to your series page instead of that book that is so offensive they can't even tell you why they rejected it. And you do want to clear those out because if you let rejections sit in your account, you're more likely to get your account shut down. If your account shuts down, it does happen to a lot of people and they freak out, you usually get it back within 2 days. There's a process for that. If it's something people want to know about, definitely ask it in the questions and I'll tell you what to do, but just don't get to that point. Make sure you delete your rejections and you'll be a lot safer. And the final mistake is editing ads that are already running. Hey, I want to add an attribution link to my ads because it's exciting and now I can see if they're working, so I'm just going to edit this ad and then it stops working. Or I changed the cover, so I'm just going to change the image. You're resetting the learning on that ad, you're resetting the social proof. It could take that 12 cents campaign for me and it could make it lose $5 for every dollar I spend. So this is something that's really easy to want to do, but I'm going to show you what to do instead if you want to change a running ad. You're just going to make a new campaign. Duplicate is my best friend. It's how I make so many ads. So you're going to hit the duplicate button when you're on the ad level, and you're going to say, I want to go into this campaign, and then it will tell you which ad set do you want it in. And my favorite trick is add to all. So if I'm running those Merlin ads and I'm using the box set blurb, now I'm seeing a decline in performance, so I'm going to add this really great reader review or this really great excerpt. All I have to do is copy that ad into every audience, and I can change them all at once. It takes me 1 minute, not even 1 minute, if I copy paste the review. Same if you want to add new audiences because you think you might have, they've seen the ad too many times, they're sick of it. Just copy the ad set and it will copy all the ads inside because they're Russian nesting dolls. So when you copy the campaign, you get the ad set and you get the ad. When you copy the ad set, you also get the ad. So duplicating is the best way to test new things because you don't have to reinvent the wheel. You can do this so quickly. And if you want to change an ad you have to an attribution link, which is a popular thing people want to do right now, the best thing is to start a new campaign and slowly shift budget there and see if that works. That is the prepared portion because I want questions. Also, if you are super introverted and need a break from all the peopling and crowd, or if you hated everything I had to say, you're welcome to leave. We don't need that in here. But otherwise, I love questions. I love hearing about the real issues people are having, and I think you're going to learn so much better from hearing how I answer your questions versus what I think is important. I also have a Facebook group, facebook.com groups, author ads, where I post free video tutorials. And some of the PAs who work with me post tutorials about other things like A+ content and newsletters. So please do join the group and watch those videos for free. You don't have to buy anything, and hopefully that will help. Otherwise, you can come find me around. I'll be here tomorrow doing absolutely nothing except for talking to people who want to talk to me. Are there questions? It looks like yes. Can you introduce yourself, your genre, and your question, please? You already have it. Proceed.
So my question is more of a statement, I guess. I don't like to spend time on Facebook. I am very in-person extrovert, but I am an introvert online. Is there a way that I can run Facebook ads without it showing people that I've actually been online?
Yes, so the Facebook Ads Manager is completely separate from the front end of Facebook. Great question, by the way. Thank you for agreeing to ask it. So the ads manager, the back end, is completely separate from the front end. One of the reasons I love ads is because I get very in the zone when I'm writing or working, and I don't want to waste my time by having a billion messages that keep pulling me from my focus and from, a really exciting part in my book and ping. So most of the time I keep Facebook closed, but Ads Manager open. I also have a second Facebook account that's just for ads and my clients so that readers can't find me, my family can't find me, nobody can talk to me unless it's important, and that's where I am 99% of the time. So ads are a great way to hide from other people and still sell your books. Thank you. Yes.
Hi, Melissa. I'm Brett. I write mysteries and thrillers, and I have kind of a general question that leads to a very specific question.
Okay.
The general one is, would you like to say anything about retargeting and funneling down from, getting the first group of people and then what to do next? And the more specific question that might be too technical for here is I have a couple of events that have got thousands of clicks on them, but when I try to build an audience, the audience never populates past the point where it says more than, or it's always less than 1,000. Any idea what's going on there?
Yes. So my favorite way to use retargeting is when you have people who already know you or you've already connected to in some way. So that might be fans of your Facebook page, that might be your newsletter subscribers, or that could be your page engagement audience, which is my secret. It's not a secret, but it's the sauce. It's the very delicious sauce because your page engagement audience is anybody who's clicked on anything you've posted, interacted with you. So they're a warm lead already. The problem with using these things is they're a lot smaller than people who in general like the TV show Supernatural and the Kindle. So I like my audiences to be around 1 million plus if I can. I will do as low as 200,000 if I know it's a bang on perfect audience. So when you're retargeting, my favorite way to use that is actually not to send to those people, but to not send to those people. So when you're putting in, I don't have a screenshot of it, but it's in this general area in the audience ad set level. When you're saying, I want to target US and please target my lookalike of my newsletter, you can include that audience or you can exclude it. You can click a button, drop down, and it says exclude. And my favorite way to use these audiences is to say, hey, my ad's less effective. All of a sudden, everybody's seen this Merlin ad. I want new readers. So I'm just going to say, get rid of all the people who have already seen this ad, page engagement audience, and then I get all new readers. When you do that, your cost per click will go up. But so will your conversion, and conversion is queen, right? And what was the very specific, oh, okay, I got you. All right. Okay.
Hey there, I'm David, and I advertised 2 different post-apocalyptic series and box sets for both. And I'm wondering what your thoughts are on, and based on some of the ads you show, do you have any specific feelings about using text in the image or the book cover? Because I've heard some conflicting information about whether to, I've run both, and I don't feel like I see a ton of difference if it's a good audience, but I was just wondering what your thoughts are on that.
Yes. Good question. So here's an example of an ad I have that's using my book cover, and it does have some text on it. This is because it gave me the cleanest crop to also include my author name. It's not that I wanted it there, but I felt like losing the moon when showing the cat would lose some of the paranormal element. So when I'm deciding how to do the image, I'll usually do a couple different crops. So in this one, the title is humongous. So if I showed it, that would be it, and there would be no cat. My brand, I've written 30 plus books with talking cats. The cat has to be there. So I will try versions that are a close-up of his face or without the author line. Depending on how the text is laid out, I always test a version that shows the title and doesn't on a cover crop. And I don't usually start with designed ads like that one because except for box sets, usually they don't work better than the cover art. If they do work better than the cover art straight out the gate, you might have a problem with the quality of your cover art. And it's just so important you evoke the genre bang on. Would you guys guess that this book is about a cat? And paranormal too. So I would test it both ways, and usually for something, a test that's that close, I would look at the cost per click versus trying to track the conversion differently. Because I know attribution links are so exciting for a lot of people, but they create a lot more work too. So I just overall like to see where my money is, where my ads are, and if I like the ratio. So if I want to test things, usually I'll change the budgets and see how that changes the money I make after the fact, rather than trying to track everything. Yes?
I'm John Olson. I write science fiction. Question I had is, it looked from your thumbnails like you reuse a lot of the same media. When you're putting together those 60 ads sets or whatever size they are, what do you vary on those ads?
So the audiences are on the ad set level. I don't think I'm going to get back there. That's at the front. This is manic scrolling. But the audiences are in the middle level, and that's where I'll start. So definitely here we go. You can see kind of how I've made these. These are Melissa Storm audiences, so they're sweet and Christian romance. And I will, Danielle Steele is a different audience from family sitcoms with romance novels. So this is the first thing I vary. And then within these 5 ads here as an example are in every single one of those 18 audiences. So here, since I'm doing my box sets in general, each ad is for a different box set, so that's easy. Otherwise, I might have different cover crops, or I might have the blurb for the book versus a review from a reader versus an excerpt. And I'll just put out there too, excerpts work great for romance and thrillers and very, very genre fast-paced fiction. For steamy romance in particular, if you can edit out the body parts, sex scenes make great ads. You just cannot have penises in the text. You cannot have that. Sorry, I'm shocking. I know nobody expected this from Melissa Storm, but all books matter. I love all genres. But with my sweet romance and cozy mysteries, I never use excerpts. It doesn't work. And at first I was offended. I'm like, well, I guess I suck, because my writing makes people not want to buy the book. But the blurb really delivers in those cases, and I've seen this time and time again with those genres. But if you have a thriller, if you have a steamy romance, even historical fiction where it's very evocative, that will work. So you might want to test a few different scenes and vary that. Just try not to vary too much. Like 5 is kind of a lot. If you could commit to doing 5 audiences with 4 ads each for a total of 20, the results will be so good, and you'll be really happy because it will be so much easier to narrow down what is working, so you can do more of that. I often turn off audiences. You can see only some are on. So the ones that are on are the ones that worked for this campaign. Sometimes the other audiences work for other campaigns, but I'll just turn off the ones that I don't like, and then I'll only add new ads to the ones I do like. And they'll keep getting better and better progressively because of that testing.
Hi, I'm Marlene Jenkins Cooper. I write nonfiction, and I'm also a romance wannabe, Christian romance. I'm going to try that in 2023. My question is, Facebook is removing ads targeted to specific sensitive topics like religion, politics, sex orientation, and health. How do you, and I haven't started my Facebook ads yet either, so I'm starting at a deficit. How do I do that if I'm targeting Christian, for my devotionals and Christian romance readers?
That's really tough because a lot of the topics, they recently removed a lot of ad targets within the last year, and they took a lot of the sensitive stuff out, which apparently includes shifters and vampires. But also a lot of Christian targets left at that time because they want to protect those sensitive populations. Sometimes you can find magazines, like Christian magazines, or Candace Cameron Bure is actually a good target for Christian fiction, or contemporary Christian music and things themselves that aren't as controversial, I guess. Joel Osteen is a target that went away. He's too controversial for Facebook ads. Most politicians you can't target. And I will say, like, Christian fiction, usually by targeting sweet authors and lifestyle, and you can target mothers specifically, because it's not just interest, it's demographics too. Christian ads can still do really well. The genres I have the most difficulty with on Facebook ads are ones that are either extremely dominated by traditional publishing, like science fiction, or I have a lot of trouble with male-male romance, LGBT FF romance. I have no problem with ads, but when I'm doing male-male romance, people report those ads a lot, even if they're completely tame, and they keep getting shut down. But for Christian romance, it's very possible. Remember the sweet targets and hit adjacent categories. You get in trouble where there aren't clear adjacent categories to target.
Now, what about nonfiction, like devotionals and inspiration?
Nonfiction, you're going to want to target the nonfiction topic itself. So if you wrote a book about firefighters, Chicago Fire, New York Fire Department, plus reading.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Hi, my name is Elaine. I work in nonfiction, and I'm getting used to this. I just set up about 25 ads for 5 online courses to support some books. And throughout this conference, I thought, oh, I should have maybe made fewer ads and done the headline suggestions and the text suggestions, like the alternate headlines and text. So, like, can you speak to that versus doing so many ads?
Yeah, like I was saying earlier, duplicate is my friend. So you want to be cognizant of testing so many things at once. I know some authors who will want to test 20 different images, and you're much better off testing some audience. Usually I start with testing audiences and different crops of the cover. And then if it doesn't work or if the ad starts declining in revenue, then I'll test text. Another change I make that I didn't mention, but something I always do that helps a lot, I swear. Okay. You can see above the fold at the top of the ad before it says see more, Merlin is just your ordinary everyday Maine Coon, except he's a witch with a human familiar. You want that above the fold to really get them to know the genre and click and want to read more. A lot of blurbs start out kind of slow, or they start with a punchy tagline. Almost always it works better without your tagline because you want to pull them straight into the story. So when I'm working on client ads, many times I'll edit their blurbs and I let them know I had to edit it for the above the fold. This is another thing you can do that makes a really significant difference. So instead of setting up a lot of different image and text straight off the bat, I would have, like I said, maybe 5 audiences, 3 images, and use these best practices with the 2 links, with the headline, and with making sure you're above the fold really draws the reader in, and you want them to clearly know what they're getting, just seeing this much. Yes.
Hi, I'm Stephanie Hansen. I write children's nonfiction history specifically, and I wanted to just clarify, are you doing exclusively traffic ads versus brand awareness ads?
That's a great question. Yes, I exclusively do traffic ads, even if I'm trying to get newsletter subscribers, which I don't do a lot of ads for. Actually, all my newsletter lead ads are for France and Germany. I don't do them for my English newsletter because I prefer that to be organic. But Facebook will give you some choices. I always do traffic because that is going to convert best. It's the most familiar format to people. If you're running a conversion ad, sometimes they'll be like, wait, why are you asking me to agree to sign up for something right here on Facebook? I don't want that. And brand awareness ads are basically bullshit. Strong word choice, not to offend anybody, but to just show how much I mean it, for emphasis. Picture exclamation points and poop emojis. Again, this is keeping in mind what people want when they have a very expensive product or a very expensive service to sell. Our margins are tiny. Even if your book is 99 cents or $9.99, our margins are small, so we really need the things that work for authors. And that is not the same as what works for everybody else, and Facebook doesn't understand that. So if you have a marketing specialist, tell them to F off, and then just go find some free resources and author groups. Yes.
Hi, I'm David Cadeby. I write in nonfiction and self-help and business. And do you trust the dynamic creative feature to combine headlines and images, or do you like to just make a creative with your combination and make a different ad for each one?
Great question. So dynamic creative is something you have to set up on the ad set, that middle doll level, and you have to check a box, and then it allows you, once you go to ads, you can say, here are the 5 headlines I want, here are the 10 images I want, and the 5 text I want. And you don't have to have that many, but you can. And then Facebook will try it in various combinations to find what they like best. That's kind of what I do with all the ads. The reason I prefer to do it that way is because I have more control to see at a granular level, and I can make decisions faster. I use dynamic creatives when I hit a wall. So when I'm struggling, this campaign is not taking off, what's wrong? And when I'm running a dynamic creative, I wait until it has 500 clicks, and then you can break down and you can see, this is the headline that's the best, this is the text that's the best. It will let you know. Do I have a screenshot of that? Let's see. So here you can see under the orange box, breakdown. And then you can break down by dynamic creative. So after I've run a dynamic creative for a while to help me, I'll take out the best parts and combine them myself and start a new campaign, and that almost always does much better.
And to clarify, you say you normally don't use dynamic creative.
Normally
it's when you
I
get
don't.
stuck.
Yeah, I use it when I need extra help because I'm a control freak. So I want to do the best possible job, and I also want to be very aware of what's going on. If you're letting Facebook do the work behind the scenes, you're not necessarily seeing it on the daily level and learning the activity. I want to know my ads inside out. So if you say, I do not care as long as it works, for some people, dynamic creative can be easier, but you're going to you might understand what works, but not why. So I'm looking for the why so that I can take that into the next campaign for the next book and do even better.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Don. I write sci-fi fantasy and urban fantasy. Pardon me if I missed this and you did explain it, but you pointed out the different cost per clicks. There was 17 cents, there was 12 cents, there was 48 or 12 or 60, whatever. You mentioned that 84 is a little high. What determines these prices? How is it, if you really want to target it carefully, then it's going to cost you more, or how do you play with that?
Usually, so it means they have to show it more before someone's interested enough to bite. So usually a high cost per click means it's not working. However, conversion is what's most important. So if I had that 87 cents a click, but I was making $5 for every dollar spent, I'd be less concerned than if I had 87 cents per click and I was breaking even or worse.
And Facebook wouldn't know what the conversion rate is. That's what you
They
figure,
do not
because you
know.
know how much you're earning.
You're
from
going to
each-
have to compare it to your Amazon dashboard, or I use Scribe Count. They're here somewhere. I use them. They're awesome. And I compare what my series is making versus what my series is spending each day to make those decisions.
So the cost per click is determined by how much interest the ad gets, basically.
Yes,
how many
it's so
people
as people are seeing it, are they
Okay.
clicking? And that's another reason I
Thank
like
you.
to use the cover art, because many people will use stock images with a one-liner. And I swear, so many romance ads look like they're for Tinder or escort service. This is why Facebook is confused. I want them to know it's a book in the genre, and that they want to buy it. So that's what's most important to me. The cost per click, I do not like 87 cents. I don't think I have any ads that go anywhere near that for any of my accounts. But if it was making a lot of money, I would not care as much. I would try to get it better so I can make more money. But at the end of the day, so many authors use cost per click or click-through rate as the be-all, end-all definition of success with ads. But bottom line is how much money is going in your pocket, period. So you have to kind of look beyond that.
Hi, I'm Nori in Love, and I write romance. You answered the second part of my question, which was about dynamic creative, but the first part of the question I want to ask is, when you create your 20 ad sets, like, how long do you let that run before you get data back? Is it like a week, or do you have 5 days? Or
I start
or
looking
do you
the
just
next day.
Okay.
So most of the time when I start a new ad, I do it at like $25. If I have 20 ad sets, I have to have a budget of at least $20 because Facebook requires you to have $1 in your budget for each ad set. So that's a good place to start. Also, you can duplicate to 20 ad sets at a time. So if I have 50 ad sets, I have to manually duplicate them, and that takes a lot of time. So I'd rather not do that. But I'll start looking as soon as the next day because patterns will emerge right away. That 87 cents one was shut off right away.
Okay.
And what I was showing with rotating, where I change to maximum time period, and I look at every ad that ever was, and I turn back on some of the good ones that weren't on. Like you can see the one on top that was 12 cents, and you see ones that are 8 and 4 cents that were off. I'm gonna turn those back on and give them another chance. That's gonna re-engage that audience that I might not have been serving ads for, and this really squeezes the juice from your campaign. For me, this is what evergreen means. Not that one ad is always on and always running and always working. It's that I have a set of ads that I can just keep shifting between to keep the cost down, to change up the audiences so nobody's getting sick of the ad. And some of these I have running for a few years.
Okay. So you're setting the budget at the ad set level. Do you allow Facebook to then determine where they're going to serve which ad, or is there something more specific?
So the placements, you want to do Facebook feed
Well,
only?
no, I mean like the specific ads that you create. So you've created 5 ads underneath that. Do you say, well, I want this to be evenly distributed amongst these 5 ads, or does Facebook decide to the audience which one it's going to serve?
I turn them on. I turn them off. I turn ads off and on a lot. So if my average is 12 cents, a great place to start is turn off everything 13 cents and above.
Okay.
Or everything that's spending but not getting clicks.
Okay.
And they'll get a chance later when I go in and rotate, which is the process I showed in these 3 screenshots. If you want to learn about rotation, there are free videos on that in my Facebook group. So this is like kind of the, hello, here's all the things we like to talk about. And we have deep dive instructional tutorials for free in that group.
And one last thing.
Yep.
Around how many impressions do you allow to run before you make a decision?
I mean, I start deciding the very next day. If I have a book launch for myself or a client, especially a high budget one, I'm in there several times a day. I do a lot of USA Today, like I've hit 12 times, and I help a lot of authors hit, and I'm in there many times a day, turning things off as they get high. I'm usually adding a new copy, like a new review every day to all the audiences. So I make decisions very fast.
Okay.
Yeah, but then you can always come back to it with the rotation, which is my secret sauce. I hate saying secret because I don't like secrets, except for in my books. But it's what I do that works really well.
Thank you.
Thank you. And this will be the last question. Is that okay, timer?
My name is Rowan. I write Steamy Romance. Thank you. A great presentation. My question relates to tracking. So when you're doing these Facebook ads, are you running Amazon ads, BookBub ads simultaneously, or how are you attributing these sales to Facebook? And this is pre-attribution link question.
I like how the last question I let squeeze in, even though my timer told me to stop, is the most complicated question. No, you don't have to run away from me. I'm not trying to shame you out of the room. It's a really good question, and it's one I get. It's one a friend of mine who's in the audience asks me all the time, and I'm like, that depends, or here's how we're going to approach. Yeah, May's like, yeah, I know who that is. But it's difficult to know, which is why I watch the income. So the easiest way for me to decide is I'll look at what I'm spending on other platforms, and I'll remove that from the overall income. So if I'm making $500 a day and spending $50 on Amazon and $100 on Facebook, I'll pretend I'm making $450 a day, which is not perfect because there's varying levels of success with Amazon. And then I'll say, okay, I'm spending $100 to make $450. And I look at it that way because it's very difficult, even with attribution links, which you might have noticed I don't don't like the way I talk about them. They're still new, they still have some things to work out. I always watch the money, and I watch the patterns, and I know how the ads are performing so that I can kind of strategically have insight and intuition into how it's going, which is really great when you're working with math, I know. Thank you everyone for being here. Find me after.